So we are live. Welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show. I hope you had the opportunity to really digest all the information we had yesterday, coming, from India. Today we're going back to the US, and we're gonna talk money. And we have with us the money doctor. So it's going to be an interesting subject for us because it's been a while since we've talked about finance and money. But in this case, we're going to learn so much because it's going to be another aspect, seen from another point of view, from another aspect. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you have not actually here talking, somebody talk about finance the way our guest is going to talk about finance today. So just to introduce our guest, so it's our guest is actually Dexter Sadler, and he's called the money doctor. So he's the doctor of money. So he's a retired former combat veteran of the US, and is now a financial success coach, teaching financial strategies to improve, cash flow. And you learn a little bit more from him. I'm not going to extend myself. I'll leave him the opportunity to introduce himself because it's such an interesting story, and to see how he's seeing finances based on his own experience and based on his own learning. So let's start the conversation with Dexter, aka the money doctor.
Memories. But as I got older, I started to be more aware of some of the abusive sides of
So good morning, Dexter, the money doctor. Welcome to the Greatness Engineering Hour show. It's such a pleasure to host you today.
The pleasure is all mine.
Okay, all right. So, today it's all about money. And like I was, saying, it's been a while since we talked about money on this platform. So we are welcoming you with open arms, especially with what's happening with the pandemic right now. We need some option and some solution to help us, not only survive, but later on thrive as well financially. So before we go, far, can you please introduce yourself, because and then tell us, who you are, and how, what were the key thing in your journey and what you're up to right now.
Okay, well, thank you. I will say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I think I covered the world just then. Because this is a global broadcast, yes. I want to say thank you for having me as your guest today. My name is Dexter Sadler, also known as the Money Doctor, and I am greeting you from San Antonio, Texas. I am, as you said, I am a retired U.S. Army veteran, retired as a lieutenant colonel, and I have been in the financial industry for over 30 years. I started
Mhm.
out as a agent selling life insurance and mutual funds and investments. But I realized after a number of years that majority, like 80% of my clients, they were financially illiterate. In other words, they did not understand money. So I
Mhm.
got out of the business of selling and I got into the education. I realized that that's the missing element. People are buying things they don't understand. They don't have money because they never got educated to understand money. And I want to give a quote that I share that because of my background, I realized some things from my experience. And I realized that rich people stay rich because
Mhm.
they act poor. Poor people stay poor because they act rich. We
Mhm.
got to get a financial education, understand how money works, understand the money game, the rules of the money game, and then play to win. We all participate in the money game, no matter what
Mhm.
country you're in, no matter what your currency is called. In
Mhm.
America, it's called dollars. But in your country, it might be called something else. But
Mhm.
it's all called money. And we all participate in the money game. Most people are just being played by the game
Mhm. Mhm.
because they
Mhm.
never understood the game. But those who understand the game don't get played by the game, they become players of the game.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
time for us to wake up. It's time for the world to wake up. We're watching the world change before our eyes because of this global pandemic. There is a new norm that's coming forth. But in that new norm, what will your new normal be?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
dictate that. Don't let
Mhm.
don't let somebody else dictate your future. Your future is dictated by your finances. You control that. And that's
Mhm.
what I hope to share with you today.
Yeah, and I think that's the challenge, isn't it? And you talked about the education system not being, a lot of people not being educated about money, because I think the challenge is actually to understand that we are in control. We have to be on the on the driving seat when it's about our money. But what we see is that we actually look at somebody or an institution outside of our control, and that's when the problem we have problems started. But I just wanted to ask you, what do you think are the key challenge that you've seen people having when it comes down to money, and what are the strategies and the tools that you know have been working for them in helping them to finally come back to a certain what I say, freedom in terms of finance.
Well, it begins with a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And that mindset is developed through the course of a person's life.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the process of getting the mindset, the paradigm shift, I call it the financial paradigm shift. It takes time to undo what has been done mentally in your thinking over years. So,
Mm-hmm.
we begin to take out the dark, that's the negative thinking, by putting in some light, positive thinking. And one of the challenges that people run into, or that is common, is that most people live above their means
Mm-hmm.
versus living within, or even better, live below your means.
Mm-hmm.
I teach the strategies that teach you how to do what's called income shifting. Now, income shifting is a set of financial strategies that empowers you to redirect where your money is going. See,
Mm-hmm.
most people's money is going to things that cost them money, like taxes, debt. Oh, a big one is credit scores. So they got
Mm-hmm.
low credit score. They pay high interest rates to service a debt. Well, what if we can income shift, redirect, take some of that money that's going to things costing you money, and bring it back to you and redirect that to things that make you money. See, your money makes money. Doesn't matter what your money is called, but
Mm-hmm.
your money is making money for somebody. If your money is not making money for you, it is making money for somebody other than you. So it's
Mm-hmm.
about now getting people to think differently, act differently, and that is a process. And in the
Mm-hmm.
strategies that I'm able to teach here in the United States, one of them begins with on a job. A person has
Mm-hmm.
money taken out of their paycheck each pay period, going to pay their what's called income tax. The problem is they having too much taken out. So I
Mm-hmm.
educate them using the Internal Revenue Services system that show them how to have the correct amount taken out. On an
Mm-hmm.
average, I'm helping people to increase their take-home pay by an extra $300 to $500 per month. Some
Mm-hmm.
even greater than that. Now you take that money and start. Imagine using those dollars to pay down your debt. Every
Mm-hmm.
debt you pay off puts more cash flow back in your pocket. If you're paying a debt that was costing you $300 a month, you paid that debt off, you got an extra $300 back in your pocket. You take that money and double up and pay on another debt. You pay off another debt was costing you $500 a month. You just increased another 500 plus the 300.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how we help people to create cash flow using your own money. See, when you
Mm-hmm.
think about the word cash flow, people don't have a cash flow problem, a money problem, not an income
Mm-hmm.
problem. People making plenty of income. What they have is a cash flow problem. And I wanted to put it like this. Imagine uh, the term currency.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the root word of currency is what? Current. I mean, think about river, a
Mm-hmm.
stream, water. A current flows.
Mm-hmm.
Think about electricity, electrical current. It flows.
Mm-hmm.
Electrical. Now, when you think about money, currency, it flows. The
Mm-hmm.
problem is that you got it flowing the wrong direction. You got more of your money flowing away from you than you
Mm-hmm.
got coming to you. So we just have to redirect. That's income shifting. Changing
Mm-hmm.
the direction your currency is flowing. Now your money comes to you and works for you. And when it comes to your money working for you, you can never work harder than your money. Your money
Mm-hmm.
works 24/7. You have to sleep. You have to eat. You have to rest.
Mm-hmm.
Recreation. Let
Mm-hmm.
your money work for you. And that's what I call working smarter, not harder. Working
Mm-hmm.
smarter means let your money work for you. Your money stays pregnant. It's always having babies. Your money is
Mm-hmm.
producing more money. Who owns the babies? Who owns the money that your money's
Mm-hmm.
producing? So that's what income shifting is about. That's what the money doctor teaches.
Wow, that's quite amazing, and I think it's good to have all those, all this knowledge because we like you said, we money. It's about flow. I mean, have it flow towards you, it flow you outside, and then you don't have control, and that's when you start to have problems. So
Yep.
you need to learn how to, attract it and keep it in your direction, and that's, and it's explained in a simple way. It's not, and sometimes that's the problem, is that, when you go to some financial planner or financial advisor, they come up with those, very complicated strategies, and that we don't understand, and we buy into it without knowing exactly what's going to happen. And then we just, after a while, when we realize that, okay, it's not working, that's when we go back and try to now understand, but sometimes it's too late, and we
Yep.
keep repeating the same thing. But, in a way, the system is done like that. So how do you, as an individual, get out of this system? Because in a way, the capitalist system wants you to, to spend, and to spend on, not always on things that's going to actually be profitable for you, or that's going to be useful for you. So how do you balance that, and how do you get, all those information to make sure that you take the right decisions?
Well, it begins with I do seminars. I do financial strategy seminars.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
right now, I do them virtual. I'm reaching people more nationally by
Mm-hmm.
using this system. than
Mm-hmm.
I ever was. But when you start educating people with simple, common sense education that is
Mm-hmm.
not being taught in the education system, such as the schools. Well,
Mm-hmm.
when I start teaching you about how your money works, and you begin to see it, you cannot
Mm-hmm.
see, you cannot dispute fact,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can argue, but who are you arguing with? Yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
when I'm educating and teaching how to do better, this is what most people desire, to do
Mm-hmm.
better. That's a common thing. Everybody desires to become financially successful one day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when people are beginning to see that this makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
I say it makes dollars and cents.
Mm-hmm.
When it begins to make sense, and then they start applying some of the things that I'm teaching, and they start seeing the results in
Mm-hmm.
their lives. Now they're seeking more knowledge. How can I do even better?
Mm-hmm.
This is
Mm-hmm.
the key. Is the five strategies consist of number one, correct tax withholding. When people
Mm-hmm.
see that, first thing they say, I don't want to get into trouble with Internal
Mm-hmm.
Revenue Service. Then I just show them we go to irs.gov and we're using their software, their publications and forms, teach it
Mm-hmm.
straight from there. When it comes to that, we're saying this is what the law says you can do. Now let me
Mm-hmm.
teach you how to do what the law says you can do, and then
Mm-hmm.
keeping proper records. That's the second strategy. Minimizing correct tax, minimizing taxes. See, when
Mm-hmm.
you have the record keeping system, which is our cash flow manager software, now you're saving tens of thousands of dollars per year
Mm-hmm.
on taxes legitimately. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to jail for nobody. I'm not going to jail with nobody. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to jail about nobody. But I
Mm-hmm.
do things legal. Now, the third thing is eliminate debt. So you
Mm-hmm.
can minimize living expenses, but you can eliminate debt. Now you cannot
Mm-hmm.
eliminate living expenses because as long as you're living, you're gonna have living expenses, but you can control them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you start eliminate debt, imagine having $2,500 a month in just pure debt payments, and then you
Mm-hmm.
paid that $2,500 of debt payments off. You just
Mm-hmm.
created $2,500 of monthly cash flow. This is what I teach the strategies how
Mm-hmm.
to create cash flow using your own money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Strategy number four is teaching you how to improve your credit scores. So many
Mm-hmm.
people, especially as with a result of the lack of employment from this pandemic, so many people's
Mm-hmm.
credit scores were less than stellar, now going straight to the cellar.
Mm-hmm.
I teach you how to raise that credit score up by over 100 points on average.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, creating cash flow. Now,
Mm-hmm.
let's get educated about investments. I don't sell investment. I educate you about investments. I teach them.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got money that you created. You become educated about investment. What are they? What are the different kinds? How do they work? How do I
Mm-hmm.
find the one that fits what I'm trying to do? Now you got you're educated, you understand investment terminologies. Now you have some money to invest with. You
Mm-hmm.
become an informed, educated investor. And in other words, we teach you how to bring Wall Street to y'all street. Let's
We
bring
teach
the
you how
money
to
home.
be with to your street. I love it. I really love it. Because it's always, when we talk about Wall Street for us, it's always like, we will never reach this place. So you bring it to you
Yes.
instead of the.
And,
That's a.
and you know what? What you just said, that is a mindset. People don't
Mm-hmm.
think that I can play on Wall Street. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
say you have to go here and be a stockbroker, but you can participate in the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's a simple. Let me give you this strategy. I call it cash assets cash. See, this is the Wall Street game. They go and get you to give some cash. And
Mm-hmm.
they put it in the marketplace and buying assets that make more cash, that they
Mm-hmm.
use to get more assets that make more cash, that they use to buy more assets to get more cash. You can do that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
using the strategies that create some cash. Now you go buy some income producing assets that make you more cash, that you use to buy more income producing assets that make
Mm-hmm.
you more cash, etc., etc. Bring Wall Street to Y'all Street. It's a mind.
Mm-hmm. 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 Fantastic. It's really good, and but I think, like I said, it's so simple. We just don't, and like you said, it's a mindset. We just don't realize that it's just at our fingertip, and we
Yep.
just have to sit down and do the work. And when we understand that the mindset is driving everything, so that's really good. So let's just have a small break, and then we'll come back and continue this exciting conversation on strategies about financial strategies, especially some very interesting one, very simple and interesting financial strategy that the money doctor is actually presenting to us and showing us today. So we are back. We are back with the money doctor, and we are already, learning so much today. And one question that I wanted to ask you is, we're now in the middle of this pandemic, and so what do you think are the key things that we need to do if we really want to raise this, to help people not only to survive but get back in their feet? And what are the key problems that they are facing right now, especially where you are in the US?
Oh, let's start with number one is
Mm-hmm.
now that we're pretty much stuck at home, if you've been smart,
Mm-hmm.
my philosophy is this, folks. This is not a hoax. This COVID-19 is not a hoax. It's not a joke. It's serious. Take
Mm-hmm.
it serious. If you don't have to be out and about, stay home because the life you save might be your own or someone that's close to you or that you love. And use face coverings, wash, sanitize, and let's just be smart, be safe, let's live. Now,
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, what I teach is number one, let's understand where is your money going.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't learn to control your
Mm-hmm.
money will always control you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with how do you do that? What if you start writing down where is your money going? When you look at any money you spend, I don't care if you spent 50 cents for
Mm-hmm.
some candy or pack chewing gum, for example. But if you start like doing a diary, a financial diary, a money diary, write it
Mm-hmm.
down. Where do you spend money? You'll be amazed and surprised and perhaps shocked about how many hundreds of dollars you spend daily, weekly,
Mm-hmm.
added up monthly. Now you start changing some habits. That's one of the things we can do during this pandemic. We have to do this. Change
Mm-hmm.
some financial habits. And then replace old habits with new habits.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go out and spend money all the time. Now, that deals a lot with working, developing a budget.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
you begin to see where your money's going, and then you start dictating or directing your money. Second thing is we can start looking at ways that we can cut some expenses in home. One of the things that I did, I realized how much I was spending on cable TV, $290 a month for stuff that I wasn't really looking at. I got rid of it, and I just got a different service that cut my cost from $290 a month to $49 a month.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
That
yeah.
is income shifting.
Mm-hmm.
I shifted, what is that, $250
Mm-hmm.
almost a month back in my pocket. And I used that money to pay down debt, pay off debt. Or most importantly, now is a great time to
Mm-hmm.
invest in the stock market. Why do I say that? People say, well, the market is down. Da,
Mm-hmm.
da, da. If the market is down for an investor, that's a great time to invest. And now, it's old saying, buy low and sell high. If the
Mm-hmm.
market share is down, that's the time to buy. And
Mm-hmm.
me personally, I prefer using what mutual funds. Why? Because I have professional money management who's
Mm-hmm.
handling it. That's all they do. They know that's how they make their living.
Mm-hmm.
And now, as a result, I don't have to be worried about trying to be a day trader and be
Mm-hmm.
stuck at the computer watching and losing sleep because things are going up and down. No,
Mm-hmm.
I let professionals handle that. I just teach people how to identify different mutual funds through some of the major fund managers.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another thing you can do during this pandemic. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and most importantly, during this pandemic, I would say a person needs to step back. And if you're a married couple, sit down with your loved one
Mm-hmm.
and let's look at where are we? And then number two, where do we want to be in the next
Mm-hmm.
10 years? And then have a game plan that you work together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You got you got to have a game plan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a football person and I love the Super Bowl. And
Mm-hmm.
I can assure you that no team get out there on that field in the Super Bowl
Mm-hmm.
without a plan, a strategy, how we're gonna play this game, and we've come to play to win.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just participating, they're out here competing to win in the game of life,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
money, whatever the dollars are called in your country. That
Mm-hmm.
dictates how you live, where you live, how your children and grandchildren live. You got to take control of that, or it will take control of you.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, your money is a great slave. It works hard 24 hours, 7 days a week. But
Mm-hmm.
also, your money is a horrible slave master, a taskmaster. It will
Mm-hmm.
dictate hardship on you if
Mm-hmm.
you let it. And I'm not saying that the things that I share and teach is an overnight success. No,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have. I tell people that I teach, this is not a hustle. It's not a get rich quick scheme.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
have to respect time, but it is a process. See, becoming financially successful is a process. A process requires time, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to do the right things. Now, speaking of time, in your lifetime, something's going to happen
Mm-hmm.
financially. But what is it that you want? You
Mm-hmm.
got to know where you're trying to go. And when it comes to destination, if you know where you want to go, now there are multiple vehicles you can choose from. You can ride a mule, you can ride a horse, you can ride a train, you can drive a car, or you can get in a jet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, which of these vehicles will get you to your destination quickest? I believe if it's me, I want the jet.
Yeah.
So now it's all about understand process and strategies. Have a game plan. Plan your work and work your plan.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wow, so powerful, so powerful. And and one thing that I picked up is, it's not a quick fix,
No.
thing. And because we see so many, so many quick fix proposal, or do this and then you're gonna get this, do this and you're gonna get this. And I really wanted to ask you, what do you think about all the new, the cryptocurrency and all those new digital financial tools and financial product that comes in the, in the market, because some of them actually propose the quick fix that you're talking about. And what do you think? And do you have any data to know, is it working actually?
Well, when it comes to cryptocurrency,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to have its place in the world market.
Mm-hmm.
But for those who jumped out there, I remember when Bitcoin, for example,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of years ago, oh man, it was I say it was the hottest thing since sliced bread, if you will. But
Mm-hmm.
it also had its bubble and it burst. I
Mm-hmm.
saw a lot of people taking money out of their retirement plan, out of their
Mm-hmm.
401k and their individual retirement accounts, and they were buying Bitcoin. And
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, it was going up, up, up. But when the bubble burst, it crashed down. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I say that let some Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, whichever kind of whatever, there's several of them out there.
Mm-hmm.
I would say there's nothing wrong with owning some, but I would not replace all of my money that I can use to spend to buy groceries.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Mm-hmm.
not go and take all my money and buy them up in cryptocurrency because most places you cannot use cryptocurrency. Tell me when you need to put food on your table, can you go to your local grocery store and buy groceries and use cryptocurrency? No,
Mm-hmm.
they want some whatever the currency is in your country. That's what they
Mm-hmm.
want.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with the cryptocurrencies. I just don't let that be my total portfolio.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I have
But
some.
in a way, I think the process is the same, because it's about cash flow as well. Whether it's a cryptocurrency, whether it's another currency, no more the dollar or whatever. You want to have this in whatever in your account. I don't know how they
Yeah.
call it when they talk about crypto. So the processes are still the same, is in a way just the tools and how they present it. It's now digital instead of something physical.
Right.
And yeah, so that's really the problem. So I mean, what are the, obviously, because you say you also, at the end of the process, because when you've educated people and then they understand where their money is going, you teach them how to invest. And in terms of investment, what do you think are the one that, the most trusted, that we should really, look first, if there are a preference, if you have a preference in a way.
Well, a common question that I'm asked is, Money Doctor, what's a good investment
Mm-hmm.
for me to be in? I say a good investment is one that you got some money in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I say it like that because not any longer being a licensed investment broker, I cannot tell you what stock to buy or anything like that. What I can tell you is I play it safe.
Mm-hmm.
What do I mean by that? For a person who is just beginning to become a new investor, I
Mm-hmm.
would say a mutual fund. Now, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying which one. I
Mm-hmm.
just say a mutual fund. Now, there are several fund managers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think the top three that I know of are like T. Rowe Price, Fidelity, or Vanguard, for example. These are mutual fund managers. Got a
Mm-hmm.
strong history. And with that, you got professional money managers. So to get started, I just recommend a person get with a good mutual fund.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is a mutual fund? The
Exactly.
word mutual means you got
Mm-hmm.
hundreds. I mean, no. You got thousands of people from various backgrounds, various income brackets, and they are putting funds into a collective pot that
Mm-hmm.
is managed by professional money managers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you own a piece of that, a percentage, based upon what percent of the total pot makes up the amount of money you put in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as that collective pot of money is invested into the marketplace by professional money managers and is earning money, then
Mm-hmm.
that's how you earn a percentage of the earnings based upon what percent of the total pie makes up yours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I call being relatively safe
Mm-hmm.
compared to trying to be a day trader or trying to
Mm-hmm.
go pick a stock, like picking a company. I'm gonna buy shares in that company.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would say let's get you more educated about investments first, so that you know what you're doing. And most importantly, when it comes to investing like that, I would tell a person, do not invest money that you cannot afford to lose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if
Mm-hmm.
you're out here trying to pick a stock, you might win,
Mm-hmm.
but you also might lose. So
Mm-hmm.
don't invest money that you cannot afford to lose,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but become an educated, informed investor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, and it's good to remind us because sometimes we hear, okay, you talk to a friend and then, oh, okay, I've invested in the stock market, and you start to say good things about it. You're not educated, and then you give to the temptation, and then you put your money. By the time you realize, you're broke. So
Yeah.
it's important that people understand that they have to be careful, they have to be educated. It's just like, you know uh, we take the example of a doctor. I mean, you're not going to go and operate somebody if you don't get the knowledge. It's the same here. And it's actually quite funny that when it comes to money, we don't actually think about it. Is that you would never go and do something, and if you don't know what it is all about and what it's gonna result, what's gonna be the result.
Yeah.
And mhm.
And one of the things, another question that I often get is they ask me about timing the market.
Mhm.
Well, let me tell you, you can never time the market.
Mhm.
Timing the market is not important. Time in the market, that's important.
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
You
Mhm.
got time in the market means that you got to have your money in an investment over a period of time. For
Mhm.
example, the stock market, it might go up and down, up and down. Well, that's a sign of life. And when
Mhm.
it's down, it's going to come back up. But usually when it comes back up, it comes up to a higher peak point than it was when it went down.
Mhm.
That's globally. Now think about this. If you were in a hospital and you're connected to an EKG monitor, do you want that monitor to be going up and down, or do you want to have a flat line? That flat line has a beep. That means you just died.
You die.
You don't want a dead market. You want a market that's got life up and
Mm-hmm.
down. So when you're in it to win it. Now, some people do day trading. They're savvy, I guess you can say, and they
Mm-hmm.
go pick this market and they're stuck to the computer and they're trying to make sure they sell or buy at the right time on a day. I don't do that. I
Mm-hmm.
don't teach that. Most people cannot do that. They probably don't even
Mm-hmm.
have time or money to do that. But I would say now, when it comes to time in the market, invest and learn a thing called dollar cost averaging.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with dollar cost averaging?
No, I think you have to explain to us.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
Well, let me use it this way. Since I'm from Texas, and you know, Texas, we're known about cows and stuff like that, right? In
Mm-hmm.
addition to oil. But
Mm-hmm.
let's say you decide that you have $100 and
Mm-hmm.
you want to go and invest $100 and buy some cattle.
Mm-hmm.
This called uh, real property. Just go buy
Mm-hmm.
some cows. So no, they call it livestock. That's what they call cattle. So you
Livestock,
go
yeah,
buy.
livestock, like
So
yeah.
let's say the price for cows today is $100 a cow. So you go to the marketplace and you buy one cow. But all
Mm-hmm.
of a sudden things change. You remember they had this mad cow disease that was going around some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now the word gets out, all of a sudden price per cow goes down to $50 a cow. But you
Mm-hmm.
invest your $100 and you get your two cows, but you worried about that cow you bought last month because
Mm-hmm.
it's only worth $50 now, and I paid
Mm-hmm.
100. But you go ahead on, but now the following month the price per cow goes down to $25 a cow. Now you and your spouse get to worrying and get to mumbling and going on. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that cow we bought that first one is worth 25. The two we bought last month is worth 25. Oh, wait a minute. But you go with that $100, you got your four more cows. Now
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna see what you're doing. You're saying, well, I'm still putting in my $100 a month, but now I'm getting more cows. But the
Mm-hmm.
cows that I bought previously cost less, are worth less
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
paper only. On paper only. Don't sell, you're buying. Now, what
Mm-hmm.
happens next? Oh, darn. Price per cow done dropped $10 a cow. And
Mm-hmm.
then you go to the market, buy with your $100, you just bought 10 more cows.
Mm-hmm.
You start worrying about my cow. I bought the first one for $100, is only worth $10. Then Oprah Winfrey come on the scene. And you remember Oprah came on down to Texas. And she
Mm-hmm.
got with some of these cattle ranchers and she ate some hamburgers. She ate beef.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden, price per cow goes back up. And now it's up to
Mm-hmm.
$20 a cow. So Oprah got the cattle business back on track. So now your
Mm-hmm.
$100 buys you what? It
Mm-hmm.
bought you five cows. Now,
Exactly.
and the price goes on up to $100 a cow. You get your one cow. You say, Lord, I'm done with this cow business because you didn't understand, but you were worried. So you sit
Mm-hmm.
down and you look at, I did that for 6 months and I invested $600.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look at how many cows have you accumulated? See, this is stock share. We're talking here livestock.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
let's say, for example, if you've accumulated, I guess, 27 cows,
Mm-hmm.
and you divide that by the $600, that would tell you what was your average price per cow.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
dollar cost averaging. You end up, because of the fluctuation of the market and you've been consistent with a certain dollar amount, you are
Mm-hmm.
now coming out paying less per share in the long haul, in this example was 6 months, than you do up front. So when the
Mm-hmm.
market is down, that is not panic time.
Yeah.
That's buying time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unless
Mm-hmm.
you get ready to sell, which could be a mistake.
Yeah. And that's the problem because people start to panic, and the education is important because when you are educated, the panic goes away because you know exactly, what's going on, and you have faith that, things are going to, the process is just going to work as you understand it. So it's really an important fact to make sure that, people get educated and get the right education because sometimes
Yeah.
it's not the right education as well. And that's why I wanted to ask you, investment like real estate. So what are, is it a good investment, or when is it, the right time to get into those investments? Because we always hear that, yeah, real estate is really the key one. If you invest in real estate, you can't go wrong, at least in this part, in some part of the world.
Well, one thing we can say about when it comes to real estate,
Mm-hmm.
there's only so much land
Mm-hmm.
on this planet. And when you own property,
Mm-hmm.
the value is someday going to go up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Owning real estate is, I would say, it's a good thing to have in your portfolio. I
Mm-hmm.
would say that one of the things that I help people to understand as you grow financially,
Mm-hmm.
then let's say you start owning some rental properties.
Mm-hmm.
That is a passive income producer, as long as
Mm-hmm.
you got a good tenant that is that pays on time. But
Mm-hmm.
that generates passive income. What
Mm-hmm.
you want to ultimately do is get to where your the majority of your money is coming from what you do not do.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make sure that majority of your money that you live off of is created, not made.
Mm-hmm.
See, you
Mm-hmm.
work to make money.
Mm-hmm.
You make your money create you money.
Mm-hmm.
And real estate, that's one of the ways you can do it. Investments, whether it be buying stock or buying mutual funds, whatever, that's another way of generating passive income.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most important passive incomes is business ownership.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't mean conventional business. Okay. Now, I want to make sure I answered your question before I go here again, because
Mm-hmm.
in regarding real estate,
Yet,
it
it's
is
still
good
regarding
to
the real
own.
estate, and is it as strong as people say in terms of investment? Is it something that can, that rank high when we look at investment? Because I think a lot of people, when you talk to people, that's what they say, is that, real estate is, something that you can count on. And if you have money, you can invest in it. And there's
Yeah.
also the stock market. So we talked about the stock market. So just wanted to know about the real estate.
Now,
Um,
on real estate, when you think about any and all investments, there are risks,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
So
mhm,
real estate can be great and lucrative if you got
mhm,
a good property.
mhm, mhm,
In the real estate business, they use three
mhm,
words that's key:
mhm,
location, location, and
mhm,
location. So
mhm,
when it comes to investment in real estate, keep those three words in mind:
mhm,
location, location, and location. Where is
mhm,
the real estate investment that you're doing? What is the future plan of that property in the
mhm,
locale that you're investing in? Okay,
mhm,
if you just bought some land, land is always good to own.
mhm,
What if you bought acres of land and just grew trees on there? Well,
mhm,
there's always going to be a need for lumber. See, that can be what's called creating generational wealth. You're creating it. It
mhm,
takes time for trees to grow, process, but that's for your future generations.
mhm,
That land might all of a sudden become some developers might come and want to start building uh, housing subdivisions in an area. Now you can start selling blocks of acres.
mhm,
These are things that you can do when it comes to real estate. But
mhm,
the key is again location. And in
Mhm.
any investment, I always ask the person this: what is it that you're trying to do?
Mhm.
What is your objective, your financial objective? What's the purpose? That will dictate what you do.
Mhm. Mhm.
A
Mhm.
lot of
Mhm.
people just jump out there and not knowing what they're doing or why they're
And
doing
that's
it.
a
They just
question.
hurt.
Yeah. Mhm. And that's a question that we need to ask ourselves that we don't ask ourselves. It is what's our purpose? You know, what do we want to accomplish? And that's those are the questions we don't ask ourselves. We
Mhm.
just earn the money and we don't know what to do with the money, and we go, I think sometimes it's just instinctive. I mean, there's something happening, and then we just don't plan, long enough. And and that's where, I also wanted to ask you about, generational wealth. And because there's a lot of issue that we have in society right now everywhere in the world, and which is linked to generational wealth. So how do we create this generational wealth,
Okay.
to be able to guarantee to our, children, and that, something is going to happen, something good is going to help them to become free financially.
Okay. Now, number one, when we're talking about generational wealth, that's
Mm-hmm,
one of my favorite subjects
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
because generational wealth is what did you pass on to your
mm-hmm,
children and your children's children and their children.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In most families, at least in America, one of the things that they pass on as an inheritance is debt
Dead.
and
Mm-hmm,
financial lack.
mm-hmm,
So when it comes to creating generational wealth, investments is one of them. Say, for example, let's say if I start buying some shares in
mm-hmm,
a mutual fund or a good stock, and I
mm-hmm,
start buying them, that is not for me at 65 years of age to
mm-hmm,
start saying, I'm going to retire on this. No, I'm
mm-hmm,
building that my grandchildren will own that
mm-hmm,
because we're looking at time. So my grandchildren have more time for those shares to
mm-hmm,
grow in value and than I do. That's
mm-hmm,
creating generational wealth.
mm-hmm,
Uh, Business. Now, when I look at business, I look at it's not about how much money you make. It's about how you make money in business.
mm-hmm,
In conventional businesses, you get paid on what's called an income. And
mm-hmm.
the money doctor definition of income is simple. If you don't go in, it won't come. Period.
Exactly. Mm-hmm,
Same
mm-hmm,
thing on a job. So what's the difference between a job and self-employment in conventional business? An employee, they have a job for somebody working for a company. Self-employed in conventional business, you own a job that
mm-hmm,
also owns you. Now, we were talking about the pandemic. Good example of
mm-hmm,
what I just said is small businesses that have been forced to shut down, social distancing. They can't go in
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and no money come. But let's understand how wealthy people think. See, the non-wealthy, they think in the mind of income statement, how much income I make.
mm-hmm,
A wealthy mindset thinks in line of balance sheets. How much am I worth?
mm-hmm,
See, a balance sheet takes your assets minus your liabilities. What is your net worth?
mm-hmm,
Now, a person making $100,000 a year, but they can find themselves worth minus 75,000. But a person making 30,000 a year can find themselves worth 1 million.
mm-hmm,
So it's about over here understanding the difference between working for income and over here working for revenue.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Remember,
mm-hmm,
income, you you get paid for what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Revenue, you get paid for what others do. That's creating generational wealth. I
Mm-hmm.
focus on business building, creating money that way. It's called leverage pay and residual pay. This is
Mm-hmm.
what you see in major businesses. Let me tell you what I mean. Leverage pay, getting paid on what others do other than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Any company that you work for, you may, let's say you work for a big Fortune 500 company. Great. Somebody started that company one day, and now they get paid for what you do and thousands of other employees while they're on vacation. Now, residual pay. Do
Mm-hmm.
something one time only and get paid month after month after month from now on. Generation.
Mm-hmm.
What's a good example? Well, we're using it.
Mm-hmm.
Internet. Somebody turned on an internet service one time, and if you're still on internet, you can see us right now. You probably got internet, and that means that their company gets paid a check from you month after month after month. Cell
Mm-hmm.
phone, they turned on a service one time and get a check month after month, not to mention your lights, gas, water. See,
Mm-hmm.
these are examples of residual income.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you build a business that has the pay system set up like that.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's the key is people working, and then we just got to talking about investments, money working.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get financial freedom, and that's creating generational wealth.
Mm-hmm.
See, because generational wealth it perpetuates,
Yeah.
creating perpetual income growth that
Mm-hmm.
continues to grow and generate money long after you're gone.
Mm-hmm. 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 Wow, that's fantastic. So much, so much insight, good insight today. And I hope whoever is gonna watch the replay or is watching, you taking note because this is, a good course of finance strategies that you're taking today for free. And so that's why we're getting to the end of this conversation. I just wanted to ask you, how do people get in touch with you to get this knowledge if they want, and what are the tools or the platforms that you have that people needs to know, so that we can go directly to you if we need to have more understanding, a detailed understanding of what you shared today.
Well, the quickest one of the things I do a lot of Zoom webinars.
Mm-hmm.
I teach
Mm-hmm.
that way, and I guess I could give people a phone number they can reach me, or they can
Mm-hmm.
also reach me by way of Facebook Messenger, as you did.
Mm-hmm.
Dexter
Mm-hmm.
Sadler, Sadler. Now,
Mm-hmm.
you might see two or three Dexter Sadlers in there, but
Yeah.
there's only one with a white lab coat and a stethoscope, the money doctor. That's how you reach me there, and you can reach out to me by way of Messenger. And if you
Mm-hmm.
do that, and especially if you do a Facebook friend request to me, let me know that you learned of me on the Greatness Engineering Hour. Let me
Mm-hmm.
know that this is where you reach me from. That way, I know to go ahead and accept that person. Now,
Mm-hmm.
now by doing that, now I can give you the link and the
Mm-hmm.
date and time when you can join me on a free live financial webinar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to get, I'll give you two websites that you can go
Mm-hmm.
to with a pre-recorded video. One of them is a 15-minute video that gives a lot more detail, and
Mm-hmm.
it is maximumcashflow.com.
Max, maximum
Maximum
cash flow
cashflow.com.
dot com.
15 minutes that teach you the strategies that I teach. And that's not me doing the presentation there. One of my business colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, now this is a 5-minute version, and it
Mm-hmm.
is incomeshifting.com.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Income
Income shifting.
.com.
.com. Okay. All right.
Now, by the way, you're not on each of these. We're not people who don't know what we're talking about. You're
Mm-hmm.
not listening to people. Let me put it like this: don't get your money advice from broke folks. You are
Which we often do.
right. So you are listening and learning from people who have achieved great financial success.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I'm teaching, you're being taught by somebody who has been down the road of broke, busted, disgusted, homeless, and my credit score had dropped to 425. Now, let me tell you why that happened. I went through a bad divorce and it took me down.
Mm-hmm.
Peace of mind is priceless. I accepted that. But see, I was down but not out. Let me tell you what happened. During that period of my life is when God put a millionaire in my pathway who took me under his wings and started teaching me and educating me on the ways and the mindset and thinking of the wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I became a millionaire. I am no longer broke, busted, nor disgusted, and a 750 credit score. Now, why do I share that? I can teach you how to go from where you are to where you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to be. I've been there, done that, and got raggedy t-shirts to prove it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So make sure you access all the information on the website shared. So there's www.maximumcashflow.com, and there's a video that is available, and you can get more information from there. And you also have www.incomeshifting.com, and you can also reach out to the money doctor on Instagram and also on Messenger, on Facebook. Like he said, you will, whoever, whatever Dexter you're gonna have, you're gonna recognize him straight away. So he's the money doctor. And if you have a problem with your money, it's going to help you cure your problem and find a solution to that. So don't hesitate to reach out, especially now. I mean, we are all, quite stressed out when we talked about finances. A lot of us are very stressed out, don't know what to do. So there's the opportunity to just reach out to people who know, how to handle all of it. We went through it, like the doctor, the money doctor was saying. He went through all of this, so he can help you. It can guide you and make you happy again, with your finances, and free from debt and free from any stress related to money.
Oh,
So,
very important. Let me give you my website address.
mhm,
My personal website address is Live Your Dreams
live your dreams.
dot my econ. That's MYECON .net.
Dot my income, is it?
Yeah, my MYECON
Mm-hmm.
.net.
.net.
And see
Fantastic.
that my econ is short for my economy. My economy, not the
Mm-hmm.
economy, yours,
Mm-hmm.
my economy. So live your dreams. My econ. Now that should be no ECON.
ECON.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
MYECON. Like my
ECON.
like my economy. My
Oh, my economy. Okay. All right. Got it.
MYECON .net.
Okay. .net. Got it.
Live your dreams. That's it right there. Now,
Mhm.
that's my website address.
So
That
that's
way,
the
that way you
website.
have access to my contact number and my email address through there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wow, it's been fantastic. It's been fantastic to go back to basic, because sometimes we think that we know, but we don't know, and the strategies are quite simple. but we choose to go for what's complex because that's what everybody is doing, without stepping back and following the process that's actually help us to understand where we are, where our money is going, and how we make sure that we don't we attract this money, and it doesn't flow out of out of our pockets instead. So that's been amazing. Thank you so much, the Body Doctor, for all this knowledge, precious knowledge, and for presenting us with those strategies that actually work for you. And I hope that the audience is going to take the opportunity to connect with you and get to understand as well, where their money is going and how they can manage to become free financially as well and enjoy a good life with money flowing all the time. So that's good. Thank you for everybody who's been able to tune in, and thank you for those who are going to watch the replay. I think a lot of people are going to watch the replay today, because we had our show at a different hour. So, but that's perfectly fine. Don't hesitate to reach out to the Money Doctor if you have a question, or if you want more clarification, or if you can't reach out, you can reach out to me, and I'll make sure it connects with you. So we have another show tomorrow. Tomorrow we're having a lady. Then Priyanka is gonna talk to us about her experience being trafficked, and how she managed to to get out of this burden that she had to live through her life. She's wrote a couple of books, and now she's telling her story and also highlighting all the different challenges that exist in the system, especially adoptionship system after being trafficked. So that's going to be tomorrow, an interesting subject as well. So that's all for today. And for us, it's going to be bye-bye. But I really want to ask you, before we leave, Money Doctor, if you can, leave us with a message, a particular message that you want to leave the audience with before we leave this platform.
Indeed. And first of all, I want to say thank you for having me as a guest. It's been an honor and a privilege. And the message I would leave is simple. Remember, you are never truly free until you become financially free. You are never financially free until you start out debt free. You have to become debt free to achieve true financial freedom. Financial freedom creates time freedom. And that's what we all need, more time. That's why it's called Live Your Dreams.
Live your dreams, and make sure that you understand that time is everything. So that's really good. Thank you so much. It was my honor to have you, and really appreciate it that you took the time to come and share your knowledge and educate us about financial planning and management in a very authentic way, and very straightforward and simple way for us to understand, where we have our gaps, and start to work on, addressing those gaps and those challenges that we have in our life, our financial challenges we have in our life. So that's all. So I wish you, to have a great day. And for me, it's gonna be good night. And I see you, everybody, tomorrow again. Bye.
Stay safe, everybody.